Yo, how you doing?
Hey, how are you doing?
How are you doing?
What you want to ask?
What you want to ask?
Pretty great, honestly.
Oh,
Um,
actually, before we go on,
Before we go on,
how old are you?
I'm
how old are you?
I'm 18, May 17th, 2005.
All right, cool.
All
Thank you.
right, cool.
Appreciate it. Go
Thank you.
ahead.
Appreciate it. Go ahead.
No problem. I get that question asked a lot
I
anyway.
have to, man.
have
I'm
to,
not trying
man.
to.
Oh no,
I'm not trying to
TOS.
get
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
TOS. I agree. Um, just simple. Do you think atheism is more rational than theism, or just
What?
any theist branch?
Atheism isn't a belief system, so it's not like a counter to it. It's that atheism, being an atheist is not a counter to being a believer. It's just saying that a believer says they believe in a God concept, and an atheist would ask for evidence of this thing. That can't be presented definitively, and so an atheist just says, well, then why should I believe in that concept? That's all an atheist is. So it's not really a counter to. We're not saying there absolutely is no. That's not how that works. But also, it's saying that there's a reason to lack a belief in that God concept, seeing as how there's not sufficient evidence backing it up. So yeah, it would be more rational to if you didn't have a definitive answer for questions that were asked about your religion or about your God concept. Then yeah, it would be more rational then to be a non-believer until you had definitive evidence, instead of just taking things on unreligious faith, which would be believing things without evidence. That doesn't really follow reality that we live in, right? No other space do you really ever do that in everyday life, except for religious spaces or religious ideology. I can overanalyze and critically analyze in my life, and this has nothing to do with being an atheist, but just like a scientific mind, right? You're going to overanalyze and critically analyze things. Well, what's happening with my car? Oh, my car's not there anymore. Was it stolen? Did it get towed? And you start running down the list of things, right? You don't just go, I believe fairies took it away. Because somebody else and a million other people believe that fairies took your car away. So you see what I'm saying? So only in religion does it encourage people to stop thinking past, here's the idea. The idea is there's a God that exists. And then past that, there's really no thinking involved. And for everything else in your life, there's thinking involved.
So just so I understand, obviously,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna quote you. I'm just gonna try to give like a summarization, basically what I think you're saying. Are you basically saying like once you're a believer for like theists, if you partake in religions like Christianity, Muslim, Islam, anything like that, your critical thinking ability kind of like stops or like just is like very vulnerable at that point?
It stops in the way of like the religious ideology, yes. So because I notice when I'm asking religious folks questions about their own ideology, they seem to stop wanting to question it because I think they really deep down fear they're going to go to hell, or they think that there's going to be some punishment because they bought into this idea so heavily that even when I'm just pushing on it lightly, it's hard for them to like answer deeper questions or really get into it. And when the answer eventually becomes I don't know, they almost feel guilty about saying I don't know, where a scientist would never feel guilty about saying I don't know. It's about finding out more data, right? Gaining more data. But for a believer, it's like we have to act as if we know, because if we don't act as if we know, then there's a possibility we die and get tortured for all eternity, especially if you're a believer of the Abrahamic belief system. So that's a problem. That's an issue. That stops, that fear can have long-lasting effects, right? Like if I said, if there's a person who captures you and takes you to their basement and locks you away, and they're saying, listen, you can live and live free as long as you don't make me mad. You make me mad, I'm going to do it to you again, right? Now there's a fear-based incentive to you acting a certain way now. And unfortunately, that can also impact your critical thinking skills. And it does in believers about their belief system, because it's harder and harder for a lot of non-believers or even scientists to push back on believers' ideologies without them getting either offended, hurt, emotional about it, being embarrassed that they don't know what the answer to a question. Like, these are simple things that they kind of take to the nth degree, and it doesn't really need to be that way. So yes.
Okay. I could of course understand your position. Like myself, I'm a believer. But except I don't partake in religion specifically, right? So like the Abrahamic faith, Islam. I guess you can call me like a deist or a classical deism position, even like relating to pantheism, right? I don't really hold like a religion belief. Would you say the same thing about like my belief system?
Yes.
Because I don't hold you. It's okay. So you hold the perspective even from a non-creationalist and a creationalist perspective, right? That it's sometimes irrational.
Well, I do because being a deist would just be the next intellectually lazy manner of being alive. So it is going from I'm acting as if I know, what happened, to I believe in this concept, but I believe that it just stopped. It created the universe and just kind of walked away. Deist, right? And again, there's no way to falsify that. So that in and of itself is deistic. View is still unfalsifiable. So yes, I look at you all the same way because it's just another way to keep God in your head without necessarily having to commit to a mainstream religious ideology.
Yeah, I could agree for like deism, like as a whole, but I like whenever I hear deism and classical deism, obviously I get this distinction. By the definition of classical deism, I'm pretty sure that God doesn't act as a sense of providence. Providence would like obviously indicate said things like creationalism for like the universe being manifold and everything, like it would be created. It just like relates that there is a higher power, like obviously above the dimensional tiering and everything. I just like basically have this belief because simple things like rationality versus irrationality, kind of like Pascal's wager. Like if it is the case, then I'm going to go into divine eternity. If it isn't the case,
Wager is garbage.
Yeah, it's
I think it gives you the sight of
Well,
saying,
I'm gonna let GodKiller tell you how it's garbage, but it absolutely is. That's not even an opinion, but that it's garbage. But it is garbage, and there's a specific reason why. Go ahead, GodKiller.
yeah. So you have billions, literally billions of gods that have likely been worshipped throughout the history of humanity, the Anthropocene, the life of humankind. If you're hominid, Homo sapiens sapien, you are part of the Anthropocene. If you're alive during the hominid, Homo sapiens sapien, you are part of the Anthropocene. In fact, all the way back to Homo erectus. So a few million years now, we've been at this, making this very brand new age of the world. So all of these gods are not being included with the generalized argument for Pascal's wager, and they must be, because we're not just talking about one specific god or another. We're talking about if any of them existed. The Hindu themselves have over 200 million gods that throughout their ages they have let go of and still worship to or acknowledge, because a lot of the worship has even gone away in their later renditions, these modern renditions of Hinduism in the facets that it's taken. And that's the oldest one that's still practiced on the planet. So to think that it's either your God or nothing is just absolutely silly, because it's your God against literally billions. So 1 in billions, at least 2 billion, if we want to be a little more concise about it, against nothing. Like, so it's this partition set, it's 50-50 is just ridiculous. You don't even have a full, you don't even have a tenth, 100th, 1,000th of a percentile. Your chances are better to win the lottery here on the planet 45 fucking thousand times in a row.
But that's why I'm saying that Pascal's wager is garbage, because it doesn't take into account all God concepts ever imagined, and it's more recent towards the ones that you're familiar with, possibly even a deistic concept. And then you say, well, if I'm right, then I get this thing here, but if I'm wrong, then no skin off my ass, right? But the problem is that if you don't believe in the right God concept, and it's another one that would torture you, then you're fucked as well in that God concept, and as are we all. Didn't ever believe in that God concept. So Pascal's wager fails. Now at the time, because it was modern, at the time it was the modern religions that Pascal was talking about, then it made sense then, because there was a dominant religion that he was referring to. He was only referring to one religion. He wasn't actually referring to all. And so that's why Pascal's wager falls flat. But I want Trev to go ahead and say something, GodKiller.
Yep.
oh, okay, but yeah. So I guess my response to that would just simply be, like y'all ideology pointing towards logical contradictions for other main doctrinations of faith, such as the Christianity. I said earlier, if y'all recall, I hold a classical deism, so y'all can't like really relate it to deist positions, right? Because there's a distinct, right? Deist holds
really.
still a
Not really.
creationalism. No, deist does hold a creationalism value. I don't. So that's a huge distinction between our religions, right? Also, y'all trying to point out like, oh, there's billions of options. Pascal's wager just asserts the value. If it's 50-50, it's stupid because there's billion partakements of religion that could happen. Y'all, as a atheist, don't even agree to that argument. I don't think I don't know if y'all realize that, but
I think it's
yeah,
silly.
no, not the Pascal's wager argument. Obviously, I don't. I'm saying y'all don't even agree to the indictment of saying that there's millions of religions for Pascal's wager. If y'all say like Christianity,
We do, though. Hold on.
let
We do, though, because we acknowledge that these religions exist.
Right.
that's fine. Y'all can acknowledge they exist, but it's not actualization, right? Y'all acknowledge that there's logical contradictions between these religions. Whenever I bring up a classical deism view, y'all just say usually, typically, I don't know. Like there's unknowing questions for both sides for classical deism, even though I partake in it, and y'all as firm atheist believers.
Well, that's the
Classical
whole
deism.
premise with Pascal's wager, though. It's the big if.
No, it's not a if they point out to logical contradictions.
If this God or that God exists, or if there's nothing. It's a big if.
If there's a possibility of that God. The thing about other
No,
religions,
but again, Trev, this is something you don't realize. You say there's a possibility of. No, you have to show how the possibility comes about. Not just by hold on, GodKiller. Not just by simply saying, "Oh, there's a God figure idea that I have." No, that doesn't get you to a possibility. There has to be something to show that could even be a viable possibility, and none of these religions have reached that.
okay, I could explain that real quick. Yes, it inherently has to be a possibility by what possibility means, right? Possibility is just something that may or can occur, right? By the denotation of possibility, it could be the case. The reason why we determine possibilities and impossibility is like the three laws of logic, right? If they contradict the three laws of logic, then we deduce it to the management of saying it's impossible, right? That's the whole point of modality. That's the whole point of constraining it to the three laws of logic. I could agree that if y'all don't point out logical contradictions between other
Statistics, but yeah.
yeah, I could agree that if y'all don't point out logical contradictions, which y'all obviously do, that's why I represented y'all point of view earlier. I could agree if y'all don't point out these logical contradictions, there are multiple possibilities of a bad God existing, of a good God existing, and my view would just be scrambled. But as y'all atheist point of view, y'all say like Christianity, the Abrahamic faith as a whole, Islam, Muslim, all the main doctrines of religions are false. They point out logical contradictions. Y'all cannot do that to a classical deist because there's no logical contradictions. It's either leading into an if and or a I don't know. That's what I'm saying about classical.
Hold on. So what Trev is saying essentially is, if you believe as a classical deist that there is a God figure, yes.
It's possible, yeah.
It's well, again, being a deist. So you're not even a deist. You're just saying, oh, it's possible.
Yeah, you're agnostic.
No, I'm a classical deist.
I'm
sharing it. No, I'm sharing it as y'all point of view. I'm being open minded.
No, I'm asking you your actual point of view.
Oh, my point of view. Yes, I believe in classical deism. Yeah, I believe in classical deism as a whole. That's why I say Pascal Rager is rationalism versus irrationalism, and I represent it.
Right, cool. So you fail to realize that just simply saying, I think this could be a possibility, doesn't actually make it a possibility because, again, you're missing one major category because you think philosophy just is like an end-all be-all. I can tell by the way you speak. The problem is that you also need statistics, yes? You also need to show what could be statistically possible based on how many God concepts there are and even your concept of a God figure. You need to have a way to show that it's statistically possible. And for you, you're just saying, I'll throw out my hands because it doesn't actually interact after the creation. Because it doesn't interact, I can just throw out my hands and say, I guess I believe in this. That's lazy.
My rebuttal to that would just be very simple. It is statistically impossible, right? Just by the denotation of possibility. Yeah, because like I brought up earlier, I'm pretty sure we're representing modality here, right? Possibility, impossibility, necessary, and contingency, right?
Matter. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So it's a statistic matter. I'm not representing it as in like. I obviously like statistic probably from our point of view is going to be ambiguous. So let's get like a common grounding of what we think of it, right? What do you think of statistics?
Not what we think it is. Statistics are based in empiricism. So go ahead.
Okay, that's impossible for a God. I could agree to that.
But again, you need to talk about a possibility. You can't be a philosophy bro all day. You actually need statistical probability. So
That just seems like wait.
but you can't do that for your God concept.
Neither. Wait. I
no.
just want to say one thing. Hold up. I'm sorry, GodKiller. You can speak right after me. Empiricism, it seems like you're holding a firm empiricism belief by saying observation is the only means of truth value, which is obviously not the case. Even in your version of even in your version of scientific theories, they have to follow things like deductive reasoning, abductive. It could also follow inductive reasoning, which is empirical value.
That's objectivity.
That's not
empiricism.
That's empiricism is inductive reasoning based on
Empiricism is
observation.
measurement.
I could agree to that, but deductive reasoning is rationalism.
Right,
That's my whole point.
yes, let's absolutely. GodKiller, this dude who's a philosophy bro is correct. He absolutely is correct. Deductive could just be about rationality or reasoning. The problem is your reasoning or your common sense probably won't get you to the right answer, especially if you're trying to find an answer in science. If you want to use deductive in science, when you're talking about statistics and probabilities, you won't actually get there by using deductive reasoning. You won't actually get there. You need statistical probabilities, which is measurement. So you won't get there.
Wait. Okay,
Deduction doesn't get you jack shit. That's hence the big long no.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
He wants to be combative, but he doesn't understand why he wants to be combative, which is the problem. Here's the problem. So again, just saying this is what you don't understand, Trent, and I'm sure I'm not going to change your mind on this because you seem like you just want to be incorrect on this. So when we start talking about what makes something a viable possibility, what we have to say is what evidence and data do we have that makes something a viable possibility. So if I said to you, unicorns exist, or I believe heavily unicorns exist, I could say a sentence, right? It's a viable sentence. You heard it, you understood it, right? Doesn't mean it means fucking anything. I could say the sentence, I believe unicorns exist, and it means jack shit. If I could say, is it viably possible that unicorns could exist, I would have to show data, even one piece of data, that show that it's even remotely possible for what we call unicorns to exist. The problem is, we don't have that data form, and if you don't have that for your God concept, you don't have shit. This is why philosophy doesn't work with this. When you're trying to prove a God or trying to make it likely, when you say likelihood of or probability of, you're dealing with statistics. And statistics are based on empiricism. So unfortunately, you can't take a metaphysical, like just a concept out of fucking thin air that you like, and then say, I'm going to say probability, which relies on statistics. You can't do both. You either have to say, I'd rather be a philosophy bro, or I care about empiricism. You either have to say, I'd rather be a philosophy bro, or I care about empiricism. That's what you have to say. You have to actually choose a lane. You can't have it both ways because people that actually give a shit about statistics or probabilities will fuck you up. I know you're 18.